Okay, wonderful, you're here. Praxis number 1. Okay, first habit you want to incorporate into your life. Okay, it's going to be dead simple. First, I need to make a correction from the introduction. I said that the Cobb Cottage Company was based in Idaho. Wrong. They're based in Oregon. Okay, great little company. Also, let me tell you, I'm tempted to just blow through this whole thing. I mean, I literally could tell you this praxis in about 30 seconds or something. I'm not going to do it. I know we're a soundbite society and everybody's impatient, everybody's got things to do, and everybody's got to pay the mortgage and this and that. But this is so important. I need to lay it out with some detail so that you can understand why it is so important. And if you just hang with me and you become one of those people that gets to walk around and understand why this is so important, it gives you an opportunity to be sort of like a hero if you want, you know? Like maybe you see a coworker or a family member or a friend or somebody, you know, somebody that's going through something, some sort of discomfort or dis-ease or something. You know, you can tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, you know, why don't you give this a try? And like I just said, I mean, this one is so simple. I mean, it'd be pretty ridiculous for them to just ignore you, yeah? By the way, have you ever noticed that the root word of ignorance is ignore? Yeah? So when you ignore things, or they ignore you, or whatever, it might lead them to a state of ignorance, yeah? You know, you can only do so much. All you can do is tap them on the shoulder and suggest it, you know, that's it. But, you know, for some people, I mean, you might just completely turn their life around, you know? Pull them out of agony or something with this so simple praxis, little habit. Yeah, okay? Remember Occam's razor, right? It's so simple, okay? Alright, here it is. Drink water. Okay, don't get mad. Don't run away. Don't say, yeah, I already know this. Yeah, okay, 8 to 10 glasses a day. Okay, I know you already know this. I know that already. But I also know that most people aren't following this praxis because there are just too many people walking around sick. And that just tells me they're not following this. What are they doing? They're ignoring it, yeah? It's going to lead us to a state of ignorance, okay? So anyway, everything I'm going to tell you is going to come from this book, okay? Maybe you've heard of this book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, from Dr. Batman Khalij, okay? I'm going to assume that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Actually, he's no longer with us. He's slipped off onto the next life, so I can only imagine his reception, you know, for all of his wonderful works that he's done here with us. Anyway, they still have a website, watercure.com, okay? You can get more information there. And he's got other books as well. But anyway, this was the first one, and I'd like to give a quick little history on him because it's really, I find it interesting, yeah? And it explains how this book came to be, yeah? He was born in Iran in 1931, and his parents were quite well off, so he was sent to Scotland to go to school, and then he went to St. Mary's Hospital Medical School of London University, and when he graduated, he went back to Iran, and he opened up a health clinic, maybe a couple, actually. I think he opened up like the first indoor swimming pool or something too. Anyway, he wanted to bring health to his country, and then when the revolution broke out in 1979, because he was schooled in the West, he was automatically assumed to be an enemy of the state. Yeah? Okay, ridiculous, but anyway. So he was thrown into prison. And in prison, you know, a lot of guys getting sick. And all he had as a doctor, he had no medicines, he had nothing to help these guys with. He turned to water, because it's all he had. And this is how he discovered that water cures so many things, yeah? And in fact, I think his first case was a guy who was just in excruciating pain with, he had a peptic pain, yeah, like perhaps a peptic ulcer or something. And Dr. Batman Khalij, he gave him 3 glasses of water. And the pain completely dissipated, just went away. And so he continued to apply water with other patients, with other ailments, yeah? Other patients, other prisoners. And he was really amazed at what he was seeing, these pains and ailments and so forth started to clear up and go away. So anyway, he's brought before the judge. He's slated to be executed. And he says to the judge, I don't really, you can go ahead and kill me, but please don't let this discovery go unpublished, okay? I have discovered the cure for all mankind's ailments, and it's so simple. It's water, basically. And I guess he impressed the judge, because the judge stayed his execution, and not only did that, but supported his work and let him use the prisoners as test subjects for testing his theory that water could cure so many ailments. And so he did this, and he was in jail for like 4 years, and he was officially released in 1982. He actually stayed on an extra 4 months just so he could finish up his work. Clever guy. Anyway, when he was released, he escaped over the mountains into Turkey. He ran away, and he came to America and worked as a doctor and started, doing further studies. And he went to the NIH, he went to the American Medical Association, so forth, told them about this amazing discovery. Not at all surprising to me. They basically ignored, there's that word again, everything he had to say. And that's not an accident. That's quite on purpose. The last thing they want is for everyone to be healthy and not have to spend money on drugs and so forth, because they can't patent water and they can't make money off of it, okay? That's the politics of medicine, okay? Actually, there's a book called The Politics of Medicine. If you want to just get spitting mad about how some people choose money in their pocket over the lives of us, go ahead and read that book. It will just make you infuriatingly mad. It's interesting. Also, there's another book I'm going to introduce to you, by a wonderful man. He was, back in the 1930s, he was curing people of cancer right and left. And he wrote to the American Cancer Association and said, you guys are the authority of this. I'd like to show you what I do, so that you can spread this to the rest of the world. And you name the time, the place, the patient, whatever. It's my expense. I'll come and show you, before your eyes, how I do this. And they wrote back and just said, no thanks, we're not interested. So I don't know. That's how it goes. So anyway, so we need to empower ourselves. That's why I'm doing this whole video series, It's all about empowering the little guy, you and me, okay? So that we don't have to be turning to some sort of authority figurehead that has absolutely no interest. Our interests are not their interests, okay? We just need to stop doing that, okay? Because we need to wake up and get smart and savvy here, okay? So, anyway, let's go ahead and just dig in. In his book, he states that every function of the body is monitored and pegged by the flow of water. Yeah? So, we're 75% of water, right? And our brains, I think, are 85 to 90%. So, of course, water must play a pretty important role. And it's interesting, doctors are not taught anything about this. They're taught basically that water, he went to medical school, he talked to all the doctors, and he said, you're just taught that water is just there to carry the very important parts. The other things are important, but the water is just there to let everything else move around. And he's saying, no way. Water is very, very critical. And you're going to see when I detail exact diseases and the role that water plays in this. It's pretty fascinating. So anyway, I look at this picture, when you see dry land, it looks pretty dead, right? You add water to it, all just comes back to life, right? So I think our bodies are obviously pretty similar. I mean, we absolutely have got to have sufficient water. If we don't, okay, it's going to lead to problems. His basic premise is chronic dehydration is the primary source of chronic aches, pains, and states of disease. Now that's a big sentence, yeah? It's a big statement, a big premise. It's also interesting, not too long ago, they discovered that water is actually the primary source of energy in our body. So he said there's in our cells are these little like pumps, and when water goes through the membrane, it turns these little pumps and generates energy, a sort of electricity within our bodies. They always thought that all the energy came from burning sugars and so forth. No, the primary source of energy in your body is water.